Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsline Live. Sri Lanka's crisis is still ongoing. The social crisis, the economic crisis, and all the other crises. The dollar crisis is still here. The dollar that was once around the 200 mark is now closer to the 370 mark. It's made a little bit of a change here and there, but by and large it's there. We have got fuel rationing. The 20 litres is here. We've had power cuts. Well, they now say we won't have them, but we wonder for how long. And our international debt obligations are still not being sorted out. And in the meantime, calls by that supreme body known as the people for elections is falling on apparently stone deaf ears. And therefore, that is yet another item to add onto Sri Lanka's crisis list. And to discuss this and a bit more is my guest this evening, Mr. Manjula Gajanayake, who is from the Institute for Democratic Reforms and Electoral Studies. Very good evening to you, Manjula.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for coming on the program. So it's interesting, you're with the Institute for Democratic Reforms, and the interesting part is electoral studies. Now, does your studies indicate that Sri Lanka must have elections, local government elections right now?
Yes, definitely actually. Now we are heading to the 75th election in the country. You know that actually we have celebrated our 75th Independence Day in a huge way. Actually, ironically, that the 75th election that we are going to hold, but unfortunately, due to many obstacles and also the challenges of the executive, that we don't have election. Then, as an institution, as a average citizen, actually, we strongly believe that we should have election right now.
And constitutionally, is that the position? Definitely.
Actually, there are few things that we have to mention that according to the constitutional article, actually number 3, then constitution says clearly that the sovereign powers vested with the people. That's why we are electing our president for the republic. Then the responsibility of the executive of the republic hold elections. But unfortunately, we are not seeing that, and also violating the constitution at the moment.
And how sits the government's claim that there is no money to have elections? How does that sit?
Yeah, government says many things. Not only the lack of money. Actually, there's a reason they have used. I mean, as an electoral study center, actually, we have observed that there are more than 28 tactics to postpone this election.
28?
28 actually.
How many have they used so far?
All 28 actually. We don't know what will be the 29th tactics that they are going to use.
Really?
But at the moment, actually, if you permit me to actually, that I will explain very few. I mean,
yes,
the very first tactic was actually they suddenly set up a delimitation committee to demarcation local authority boundaries. But unfortunately, you know that the demarcation, I mean, for such a process, delimitation process, you need at least 6 months, one year time. But unfortunately, they have given very limited time period for that committee. Then they were trying to demarcate boundaries, not for a genuine idea, but unfortunately, actually, they wanted to demarcate idea that take in that report. And also, I mean, once you publish the report, there should be a review committee. You have to review maybe months' time what they did for the provincial council elections. Now, actually, they tried that. They tested. But unfortunately, luckily, they couldn't do that. That's why that Mr. Mahinda Deshapriya and other committee members submitted their interim report last few days ago, and they have requested another 1 month extension. Not only that, actually, they influenced through the Attorney General also, and they spreaded some news telling that the election commission has there's various ideas within the election commission, and also they have separated that members have various type of ideas, and also there's no unanimous decision on election within the election commission. Not only that, actually, that, and also there are many ways. Have you seen that Sri Lanka police telling we don't have people to protect the election, giving for the election operation ever?
But why? But the police are normally not like that. They are with the people. They police the people.
They have 88 personnel within the Sri Lanka police. Unfortunately, they have given, maybe according to my observation, actually almost 38,000 police personnel have given to protect VIPs. But they ask only 60 people to protect government press. But unfortunately, what they told, that we don't have 60 personnel to constables to give to protect the government printer.
Yesterday we had the head of the STF. He told me that he has 8,000 people. Maybe you can borrow 60 people from them.
No, yeah, definitely. Not only that, actually, if there's a strong request, if they have lack of personnel, they can request other personnel from Sri Lanka Army. We don't have a critical thing right now or any other thing.
Right, yes.
Then if required, they can. And also, 2018, actually, they have requested 410 million only for the whole election operation. This time, can you believe they have requested 2,880 million rupees for the election operation, only for the Sri Lanka police. Out of 10 billion and 8 assessment, they have requested 2.8 million rupees, 8 billion rupees.
That's this time.
This time. It is an unusual.
And last time?
Last time only 400 million rupees.
From the police?
For the police, actually.
Yeah, for the police.
I mean,
the police bill was 410.
Yeah. Then the assessment was totally unusual.
So even if everything, because inflation and everything else. So
inflation, it is true, but election commission
yeah.
officially said that actually if you are asking thrice, I mean last time maybe, yeah, it was 400 million.
If it's 400 times 3, it's 1,200.
Yeah, but unfortunately actually when we observed that assessment, it is totally unusual.
It's 1 billion more than 3 times.
Yeah.
So it's more like 5 times.
Yeah, definitely. It is unusual.
So at the end of the day, let's cut to the chase. Do you get the feeling that these politicians are doing what they're doing simply to hang on to power, and they're completely misleading their people?
Definitely. I mean, rather telling politician, I would like to say actually the executive. Executive is filled in people.
As in the president?
Yeah, as the president actually.
Yeah, right.
Because he's protected by 2 parties, Sri Lanka SLPP and UNP, though there's one member actually that both parties are, directly they are saying that...
But the president only has 1 party member.
1 party member, but he's the executive.
Yes.
He's the executive.
Yes.
The other thing is, see how power concentrating right now. Urban councils.
They go to the secretaries.
Yeah, and also actually the commissioner of the powers of municipal councils. Then again, all those officials are controlling by governors. Again, governor is appointed by the executive. Then right. 2 layers, almost.
So the president has...
he's controlling 2 layers almost. And also he's going parliament and telling many things. Then also it is just like a seal now, the parliament also. Now, my observation is actually that Sri Lanka is entering into authoritarian democracy right now. Now he's acting like authoritarian executive right now. It is a very
I remember when Mahinda Rajapaksa was the president, and there were various incidents, but I remember the United Nations very clearly, the Navi Pillay, their special rep, saying that she was troubled by the growing authoritarianism in Sri Lanka. How come the UN isn't so upright and forthright now?
Yeah, Actually, as an election observer missions right now, I mean last week also, we were trying to contact them and convince them actually that what is going on here. Last time also, a few days ago, actually we were able to meet most of dignitaries, I mean the representative of diplomats. But their stance is actually they were waiting. The very first time actually they were waiting for confirmed for the election date because actually we were waiting for election date for the confirmation. The secondly actually they were waiting the decision given by the Supreme Court because now it seems that that court order also actually means the next hearing has fixed on 11th May. That means actually we have to go some more time. Then now I strongly believe that maybe within few days that international community will come forward. Maybe the very first sign was that actually that the Foreign Affairs Committee of US Senate has given a warning right now actually based on the Bloomberg report.
You know, the crisis is getting completely out of hand and judging by some of the messages I've got one message here who's telling me that they'd like to have 2 coconuts, 1 kilo of dal, green chilies, hal maso, sugar, tea and vegetables because they haven't got money for that. I mean, you know, I know the show's watched all over, but this is crazy. What will having elections do? Will it actually end this financial crisis?
I strongly believe yes. There are two sides of the coin. Two sides of the coins. I mean that when we are saying that we are a failed country and are economically bankrupted, firstly we should ask who is the responsible for that? Who was responsible to do that? Then there's a problem because we have selected wrong people. Then at least this time that maybe assuming that people are politically actually political literacy is there, then we are assuming that actually people will make a correct choice right now. First thing. Then secondly, it is not a reason to postpone elections. Maybe actually people can say many things because there's election budget. The overall budget estimation of the expenses of 2023 5,838 billion rupees of Sri Lanka. Okay, then but how much money asking for this election? Asking only 10 billion rupees only.
So
that means 1.01.
So 5,838 billion
rupees
is the
whole expenditure of the year.
And they're asking for 10 billion.
Only 10 billion rupees.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the 10 billion is what the 2015 Yahapalane government raised after only advertising for 1 billion worth of treasury bonds. They gave away, they took up 10 billion along with their various related parties amongst the primary dealers. So let's not forget that very easily the government of the day in 2015 led in one part by the same man who is now the president. They advertised for 1 billion and they raised 10 billion, and Mr. Manjula Gajanayake is telling me here today that the amount of money required for these elections is 10 billion.
Yeah, definitely. That is the problem actually, that they are trying to say that lack of money and all, there's an economic problem. But I would like to state another side of this.
Would you mind stating that after the break, because you need to go for a break?
Sure.
Thank you very much. And that's it's now time for the headline news from that wonderful primetime news team. The headlines will be read now. The news starts immediately after Newsline at 9 o'clock. We'll see you on the other side of the break with Manjula Gajanayake.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
Russian State Corporation proposes for a nuclear power plant in Sri Lanka.
කැබිනට් එක මේ යෝජනාවලිය අනුමත කරොත් එතකොට අපිට මේ යෝජනාවලිය අත්සන් කරයි.
Rupee further appreciates against the dollar. Sri Lanka's reserves also increase. Trade union demand solutions to tax, salary and benefits issues and warn of mass protests on the 8th of March. No going back to pre-2020 tax policy, says State Finance Minister. NewslineSL chairman, defiant, says won't resign unless sacked.
I'm going to challenge basically the documents for the tariff revision which was accepted by the other members, which is not a legitimate document which was prepared by people.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in conversation with Manjula Gajanayake from the Institute for Democratic Reforms and Electoral Studies. Manjula Gajanayake, tell me about this whole business of elections and money.
Yeah, that the last time also that when comparing with elections, have you seen any country in this globe have bankrupted after conducting elections? My answer is no. Because the secret of elections that are soon after the election, there may be a revival of economy. The thing is that actually once you got the ticket to contest for elections, somehow you are taking money to the market and also all the money comes to the country, even not going foreign countries. You are advertising, you are pasting posters and many things. Electioneering in the biggest logistic operation in the world. We are telling for elections like that. Then always actually money is there for elections. Soon after having elections actually not bankrupting, there may be a instant revival of the economy. It is the normal scenario in elections. If someone telling that once we conducted elections that the country will bankrupt, actually it is a harsh statement and also it's a big lie. It is it is a fact. And also other thing is that actually this time there are 8,627 candidates. All of them, half of them may be, actually they will invest money. They will spend money for the electioneering. Then that money also exchanging in the society. That's why we are telling actually that we need elections, because that the economic factor is not crucial for this time. But other factor that you asked earlier, that whether once conducted election, if there may be the economic revival or something, whether we can fix the economy. The thing is actually that if you can select real correct people, genuine people, actually they can contribute to the national economy. Because the local government is, that local government, you can earn money, you have powers, you can do anything within the local government systems. Unfortunately, it is a breeding point for thuggers and also robbers. Many people, we know that. But at least we have to give the chance to select correct people this time.
We need to give them a possibility.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the legal position seems to be being sort of challenged again. And so as an election sort of monitor person, as somebody who's watching over these things, are you confident that at the end of the day, perhaps Pakistani-like, we may actually be given the right to have our elections, notwithstanding the cost?
Yeah, it is unfortunately that we have to fight to secure our voting rights actually for the franchise. That we have a long history of universal franchise since 1931 receiving universal franchise, but unfortunately actually this time, but it is true that there are 7 cases filed before the Supreme Court. Then they have actually that we know that one case has fixed on 11th May. I know that it is maybe a long days, but in between you know that we also advocating and also we also trying to empowering citizens, political parties to protect and also protect their their franchise voting rights. And also we strongly believe that maybe there are two factors. The first thing is actually now already chairman of election commission has sent a letter to the parliament. Now it is up to the parliament to secure voting rights of people. I mean, at least there should be a debate. We know that they have fixed a debate on 9th and 10th. Then at least we can see who are for votes, for voting rights of people. Then we strongly believe that opposition parties and maybe the ruling party as secretary of SLPP strongly said they for elections. Then we are observing and also we are on alert that how they are behaving on 9th and 10th. And also the Supreme Court side, actually, you know that we have a rich election culture. This culture enriched with the judgment given by Supreme Court in previous times. Then still we have a strong belief, glimmer of hope is there that Supreme Court but considering all the cases, all the 7 cases right now, what I feel is actually Supreme Court has not telling anything to stop the election hearing. I mean, still we can go forward. That's why Election Commission is going to gather tomorrow. They will make a decision to hold the election another day according to the law. Then it is up to the citizens and political parties and all the citizens to ask our voting rights, and maybe without any party line, without any without divides, you can ask your
without
rights to divide.
lines.
Without party lines, actually you have to stand for elections this time.
But it was John F. Kennedy who said that freedom has many difficulties and democracy is not perfect. So we know that in Sri Lanka, and democracy in Sri Lanka, especially in the recent past, has not been perfect. And all those young people who came out there in protest, the so-called Aragale, will stand testimony to that part of it. And despite of what our guest told us last night, there is deep unhappiness about the government of the day going after these young people who protested and so on. And of course, if they broke the law, they broke the law. But the sort of almost liberal use of the provisions of the Prevention of Terrorism Act, PTA, has caused many international eyes and eyebrows to be raised. So in this whole context, Manjula Gajanayake, from what we draw from what Kennedy said, you know, that freedom has many difficulties and democracy is not perfect. What do you genuinely feel as, forget your job, forget everything else, as a citizen of Sri Lanka, what is your personal feeling as citizen Manjula Gajanayake? What do you have to say? What do you hope?
Yeah, let me to say actually, I mean, I would like to read the mindset of the president actually, that how the behavior of the president in these days, actually what I observe, that he will not give elections. I mean he will not support it to conduct the election in this year. Actually his mindset can read that the election will give, I mean, what he actually maybe the date what he wish, but unfortunately we have to fight for that. But you know that the thing is that not only the president, in this time, actually, some of higher officials who are obedient to the president obstacles, I mean, challenging to the electoral process, electioneering, I mean, the government printer and also the...
But has Sri Lanka generally had free and fair elections? And can you describe some instances where we have not had free and fair elections?
Yeah, there were 74 elections in our history. Most of majority elections were free and fair. I mean, free and fair. But there were some of elections, I mean, that the Northwestern Provincial Council election were held that the 1999, 25th January. I mean, if I would like to describe that election as a daylight robbery. 1999, when Mrs. Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga was the president, that the SB Navin was contesting as the chief minister, ministerial post. Then it was a daylight robbery. After that, 81, 82, 83, all three elections, I mean that the Jaffna Development Council elections, as well as the one and only referendum held in Sri Lanka 1982, that also actually, that you know that what was happened, that it also that the very bad practice, and also 1988 and 1989, there were maybe 5 or 6 elections that we held that totally not free and fair elections. But out of 74, actually maybe 65 or 67, 6 elections partially free and fair in our history. We have a good culture, we have a good reputed history conducting free and fair elections in this country.
What are the challenges in monitoring social media campaigning?
The first challenge is actually we have to equip the election commission very first. I mean that let's talk on this time local government elections. When it comes to local government elections, that the Facebook company, actually they are not willing to support to monitor this election. You know that we can't monitor any kind of elections without the support of that social media platforms, their companies. When it comes to the Facebook, actually that they are not interested, and it is not mandated as they described that local elections. They are concerned in only national elections.
So you're saying it's difficult to monitor?
Very difficult. Number one is the willingness of such a multilateral
platform,
company. Yeah, and other thing is actually the election commission. You know that they have a EDR, election dispute resolution unit, but unfortunately you know that they are concerned on election complaining that receiving directly to them, but unfortunately they don't have a team, and also they have not well equipped to monitor elections. And also we have very few organizations that PAFREL, hashtag generation, and some election monitoring missions are taking this forward, but you know that there should be more manpower and also well equipped platforms to do that. But in Sri Lankan case, still we have to go more far actually to do that.
Thank you very much for that. We've got a few minutes left, so let's take this one. Have we ever in Sri Lanka seen election monitors being attacked or harassed? How do we protect election monitors?
Yes, definitely, but in not larger scale. In this, I'm not willing to mention names of politicians, but when I'm telling electorate, actually you can guess in earlier actually the Hanguranketa Nuwara district, actually it was always challengeable conducting monitoring missions in those areas. There's a particular political leader, still he's in live and in the parliament actually he's challenging always. And also Hambantota district, actually there were many challenges against monitors, and also one time...
Any particular party harassing you? Or?
Actually yes, earlier SLFP, yes, they harassed, and also in 1999 during Western Provincial Council elections, so when Dr. Saravanamuttu and Arjuna Parakram and others were heading Center for Monitoring Election Violence, because I also was the head of that organization 9 years time. Then I know that actually they have challenged them also. One time, as I remember, actually they were trying to put defamation case also against Dr. Saravanamuttu actually, because he was impartial election observer at that time. Then there were many challenges, yes, but in recent times, after maybe 25, actually we have not seen such a challenging situation against monitors.
Unfortunately, it's now time for the news. So, Manjula, thank you very much for being on Newsline Live.
Thank you.
And that's the way it was as Sri Lanka fights its way out through this crisis. It's now time, of course, to thank you, and now to look at the primetime news at 9 o'clock. I'll leave you, as always, by saying, God bless you all. It's time for the news now.